Mystic Michaela, spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Palm readings. I was surprised because I've been doing palm readings on my Instagram stories, and I want to discuss that with my red, blue aura husband here, Scott. Hey, Scott.
Hey, guys.
So, palm readings. Here's my little, preface on them.
Okay.
When I was, I don't know, in some lull in life or something, I was always interested in palm lines and palmistry and whatnot, but it's a lot to learn, and you have to kind of use what resonates with you to do it correctly. And so I picked it up maybe a couple years ago, and I got like a bunch of books on it and whatnot, and there's so many ways to interpret the lines on the palm. Is it real? I mean, it's a pseudoscience, so it's real, and there's a ton of logic if you believe lines on the palm mean anything first. If you believe the lines on your palm mean something, then there's a ton of logic that goes with it that can explain that to you. So, does that make sense?
I guess. I mean, that would be kind of same as astrology.
It's like astrology. Yeah. If you believe it matters when the planets were where they were placed the moment you were born have something to do with your life, then there's a ton of logic and pseudoscience to make it make sense.
Right.
So that's the thing.
But I assume when you're doing it, because anyone I guess could go.
Anybody can
look at the lines.
Yeah, I encourage people to. It's fun.
Yeah, but I assume there's some your psychic senses kind of chime in.
Yes, and just I think
I can't read a palm.
I mean, you can, because the lines mean certain things if they go certain ways.
Right.
There's I said, there's logic that goes with it that you can look up. But what I do is when I over the years, because I used to do palm readings. I don't do them anymore. They used to be on my website.
Yeah, that used to be a service you can get.
Yeah, and people always loved them.
Yeah.
But they were a lot of work because I had to use technology to draw on the hands. Right. And I just got really sick of it, honestly, and it wasn't fun for me anymore. But I do them on my stories now. But people got so excited to see what was on their palm. And it's fun for me too. I like to look at them in person and stuff. Mm-hmm. But what I realized was, some things make sense and some things don't. And you have to cross-reference it with the person you're reading. So, if I'm holding someone's hand, but that's just me because I'll look at someone's aura and be like, oh, this makes sense because you're a purple, or this makes sense because you're yellow, or whatever. See, for me, I always go back to the aura stuff because that's very real to me.
Right.
And I believe that it's a sense. So I believe that over everything. But, so the thing with palmistry is that a lot of the stuff that you read is very scary. And because it's such an ancient practice that the way you can interpret some of the lines and the way things were written and researched and said are awful and really, really scary.
Yeah, your lifeline. And
and just certain things you'll end up alone or lonely. There's so much that that's so you have to take it with a grain of salt when you kind of research it.
I mean, I don't even know if you know this, but I actually got my palm read once.
Where?
Long time ago.
Did you really?
Erie County Fair.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Did I ever I don't even think I told you.
No, you never did.
And I gave the lady my palm.
Yeah.
And she saw there was a little hook. I got this little hook at the end of one of my lines or whatever.
Right.
And she told me that one day I was going to be a great fisherman.
Oh my God, you had the fisherman's hook.
Yeah, I think that's what she called it.
She called it the fisherman's hook.
Fisherman's hook. And, and first of all, I don't fish at all.
You don't?
No, I don't fish. I'm not a fisherman. I don't like killing fish. I don't like hooking fish.
Yeah, you don't like hurting things.
I feel bad when the fish is all flopping on the end of the line.
I know, that's not you.
So she told me I was going to be this great fisherman. And I think she even said one of my lines was a shark line.
Oh, a shark line.
That I'm going to catch a shark.
You're going to catch a shark or get eaten by it?
I don't. Oh.
Oh.
I took it as I was going to catch the shark because I was a great fisherman. But maybe the great fisherman is going to get eaten by the great shark.
I've never heard of the fisherman's hook. But my dad went to a palm reader at the same Erie County Fair, and she knew he had 2 kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you and Emily standing beside him?
No, you weren't. No, he went alone.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
But you can go when we went to New Orleans at one time, they're everywhere. They give me your palm, and they can say but you have to take it with a grain of salt. You really do, because sometimes it can be very scary, the stuff they say. Now, I have never read your palm, Scott.
Right.
Never.
No.
And a big question is left or right. Do you read? That's a big question I get. And
no.
There's various. What?
Are you asking me if I read?
No.
Oh.
You don't read?
No, I don't.
You're not literate?
No, I'm not literate.
You're not palm literate.
No.
But people say right hand or left hand, which do you read? And there's various I mean, that's the thing with these things. It's not like a real science. So like there's conflicting. But the one I go with was the left is what like you're given and the right is what you do with it. So I always look at the right hand on people. Oh, okay. But it's all conflicting. Like you could probably find something else that says something different. But anyways, I'm going to look at your right hand.
All right. So I just want to tell you that you told me that you were going to be reading my palm for this segment.
Yeah.
And I did some pre-rituals for the reading.
Like what?
Well, I wash my hands very well. So, like, they're very clean. Mm-hmm. They're very sparkly. I got, there's, some dirt and grime in there in the lines, I thought. Like, I don't know what that was. So I did all that. Yeah. I got some, I prepared. I got some wart remover just in case.
Yes, you did all of it.
Yes, I had a few calluses that I kind of used one of those scrub brushes to get out. Mm-hmm. So it's really going to be, when you look at this hand, like, you could eat off it.
Okay.
And I also the corona thing, so sanitation.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you for your sanitized hand.
Okay, so my hand is
ready.
And
because of the coronavirus, like CDC guidelines probably do not allow us
There's
to
only one problem.
This.
I did it with my left hand, not my right. Oh. So the right's still dirty.
Okay, well, I need your right hand.
All right, here it is.
So, okay. Well, this kind of sucks because...
What? Wait, am I a fisherman?
All right. The problem is like I'm married to you. So, your fate is my fate, and you don't have a fate line.
What does that mean?
So, by the way, I will put this on my stories so you know what I'm talking about.
You're going to put my hand?
Yeah, I'll put a picture of this on my stories. Okay. And then if it's not, if you're listening to it, it'll be on my highlights of my stories on Instagram.
Okay.
So, people know. So, you can look at it while you're listening to this.
Right.
But you have no fate line. So, the fate line is a line that runs...
That's not good.
Straight up down your palm. The best fate line is supposed to start at the wrist and go all the way to your middle finger. And you just have, a broken, sad-looking one.
So, wait. What does it even mean, a fate line?
So a fate line is important because it has to do with, your job and your career and things like that. And basically, if you don't have a fate line, it means that you have to make your own destiny with everything you do. It's just everything's harder in life.
Okay. And that's what I've been doing.
I know. It's kind of connotes struggle.
Okay.
Which makes sense for you.
You know what? I don't mind the struggle.
You don't mind it?
No.
It's like breaking snow. That's what when if you don't have a fate line, your life is if you live somewhere snowy, you know what I'm talking about. When you have to walk home from, walk home from school and nothing was paved, that, or nothing was shoveled. You have to, trek through. You always have to make your own path.
Okay.
It's always pushing through life.
So right now, I'm trying to make the fate. Will the line appear on my hand if I do it?
A lot of people ask me, do your lines change?
Yeah.
And I've noticed on my own palm in the several years I've been doing this, I feel like my lines have changed a little bit. But there are... your lines can change. It depends,
So basically what you're telling me right here is I have no fate line.
You have no fate line.
Thus, I have to make a fate, in essence, make the fate line?
You have to make your own fate.
Make your own magic.
You have to make your own magic. Yes.
You know what? I'm okay with that because, if something's just, handed to you easy, it's not as much fun.
But...
Right? Is that kind of what you mean?
Well, yeah. And also it means that you never really, cared so much to please anybody to do a certain career, or you're not attached, because it also can show because it's not touching the lifeline at all, your fate line. So your lifeline has a lot to do with just quality of life and also sometimes family attachments. So your fate line's not attached to your lifeline at all, meaning you don't care what they think.
That's good. All right, so that's good.
Some people's fate lines come out of their lifeline.
Where is the I am going to win the lottery line?
Oh, my God. So you do have a lucky triangle.
Yes, I have that line?
Yeah, okay. Oh, I have, and this will be really interesting for you guys to look online. There's something, look on my pictures, because I'll put it on here, because some people have it.
Right.
Because, you want the good news first or the bad news?
Give me the good.
The good news is, so you have... where your heart line is, and your lifeline, but then you have something called a health line. So it makes a triangle on your palm.
Is that good?
And that's called the lucky triangle.
Maybe that's...
Because you have a health line there, and it's thought to be very auspicious. And the bigger the triangle is, the greater luck you'll enjoy.
Maybe that is the Bermuda Triangle, and that's what the lady was telling me that I was a fisherman.
Well, when I met you, I remember one of your friends told me, that Scotty, he has a horseshoe up his ass.
Okay.
I remember Nigel told me that.
Yeah.
That you were always things always just worked out for you. And you could tell he had a chip on his shoulder about that. But You are somebody who, like, I don't know, like, things kind of will fall in your lap sometimes. Sometimes.
Right. Sometimes. But if I'm working on it with my fate line,
but
so I got to kind of like...
But there's the bad news is you have a health line.
Ew.
And sometimes
it's not good to have
the
a health
absence of a health line means healthy life, and the presence of a health line means unhealthy life.
Well, I've been pretty healthy.
I know. But then yours is kind of like shows up, because on every line there's like the... What is it? Like, the closer it is to your fingers, it means, like, the older you are. So it shows up kind of, like, around your 40s up, which can mean, like, from 0 to 40, you've been good.
Right.
And then, like, 40 up, there can be, like, issues.
So I'm falling apart, you're saying?
That's what it shows.
Dear God. Seriously?
That's where palmistry gets scary, because it basically says... You know,
I'm going back to the fisherman lady.
Yeah.
At least she told me I was going to be a fisherman. I'm not going to be
basically says
dying in the next 2 years.
But it doesn't touch your lifeline, which is good.
So I'll just basically...
but yeah, it means, like, bad health. Now, the other thing is... the origin of your fate line. So, like, where it starts.
Yeah.
Now, yours starts kind of, like, at the base of the wrist a little bit. Which means, like, self-reliance and, like, resourcefulness, which is truly you.
Right.
And that, like, your family connections aren't dependent, like, on your career. Like, nobody got you a job.
You have me dying off in a year or two. What does this all matter anyway?
What I'm saying. And also, like, career choices are made by chance.
You know, I came in here very upbeat and happy today.
You got, like, a bad palm reading.
You know, I hear all these stories about how people come to you and they love you and they hear these great stories.
Super broken.
And this is what I get.
Also, your palm's, like, super duper broken, like your fate line.
Yeah.
Your fate line concerns me.
What does that mean?
It's just, it's got this, like, it's got, like, a fork on the end of it.
What?
Which traditionally means, like, at the end of your life, you'll join a monastery. That's truly what a fork on the end of your lifeline means.
So you're telling me at some point in my 40s, because my life's almost over because my health line's gone to crap, that somewhere in my 40s I'm going to become a Buddhist monk?
Yeah, your health will fail and you'll join some sort of monastery.
Okay. Didn't we just talk about not having to go to Bali and Thailand to have a spiritual...
But if you took, like, the 300, 400, 5,000 years of palmistry and, like, you were like, okay, how do I make the monastery thing make sense now? It might just mean you're more spiritual as you get older.
What if I just, I chop off my hand, throw another one on there?
Oh, my gosh.
Could I do that? Would that help me out?
Yeah, that's a good question. What happens if you don't have a hand?
Yeah, I'm Luke Skywalker.
What if you don't have a hand?
What if I'm Luke?
Yeah, what about amputees?
Yeah.
How does this apply to them?
Okay.
You're always thinking.
Yeah, I'm always thinking. Huh.
So there's your palm reading.
That was a wonderful palm reading.
Have a nice day.
I really prepared for this. I cleaned it and everything, washed it.
You're welcome.
I was more worried that my palm was going to... I was more worried, honestly, I'm going to tell you the truth right now.
Yeah.
And I was more worried that my palm was going to tell you some stories.
Oh, no.
Psychic stories that you could get from it. Nothing like that
you're
happened,
left-handed, so your right-handed wouldn't be telling me so much.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Okay. All right. All right, that's fair.
So I take Carney rates for the palm reading, so that'll be $10. Thanks.
Yeah. Wow. So
I'll take it on Amazon.
I'm so depressed right now. I can't even go on.
That's why that's what I'm saying. Like, the problem with the palmistry is, like, because all the logic was written, like, thousands of years ago. Like, it's very negative. Okay. And everybody did die at 40. Like,
it's
so
true.
of, like, some sort of disease. So, like, back then it was easy to be like, and you'll die of disease.
Okay.
Like, because
so
500 years ago, totally.
You've totally depressed me.
Sorry.
Thankfully, we have an amazing guest today.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about the guest we have?
So we have Sarah Rice from The Real World and Road Rules. The challenges, and she was on, like, a ton of challenges, and she was on Real World Brooklyn, and she's also the host of the Brain Candy podcast. So she's a co-host with Susie Meister, and it's a really cool podcast. So let's talk to her.
All right.
Hey guys, I am here with somebody that I'm quite excited to be with, Sarah Rice. You may know her from MTV's The Real World Brooklyn season. Woo! Yeah, and she's been on, like, oh my gosh, so many of the challenges, like Ruins and Fresh Meat and Cutthroat and, like, so many. And you won a bunch of them, didn't you? Like,
I did. I won. Well, I won first place twice. Even though I only got paid for it once.
I remember that.
The old partner stole my money thing.
I'm very stressed out about that in my life. for like a
A
week.
lot of people were.
Yeah.
A lot of people were for longer than I was, I think. And they're like still worried about it.
I'm
like,
still
it's okay,
triggered.
guys.
It's a thing. And you also are a smarty, like, because you have your master's in marriage and family therapy.
Yes, I do.
And you're the co-host with Susie Meister of the Brain Candy podcast, which is all things like intellectual and like pop culture, like mashed up together.
Yeah.
And you're yellow and purple, your aura, and like all my yellows are going to be happy because I don't always have a ton of yellows on here. So this is like a big day for the yellows.
Oh, I love this already. Oh my gosh. Well, that sounds so cool.
Yeah. So, okay. So I have to ask you first. I've always been drawn. So back it up a little because I see colors around people. Like reality TV has always been like my thing, like even from like a young age. So you're like all the Real Worlds, your season, like all the challenges, like I was always so drawn to them. And I have this theory, and please, because you were on for like, when did you, because you were like, what is it, like 2009 was like, when was the Real World?
Actually, yes. Oh, good.
Okay.
You're good.
I remember. And you were on for like just up until like a few years ago, right? Like consistently.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's crazy because I see that show as everybody's just a little bit more, a lot more authentically portraying themselves, like energetically, than I see in like, I don't know, like let's say like other reality franchises.
Yes.
What is that?
I completely and 100% agree with
Okay.
you. It's so interesting because it is more... Like, I will always say when people ask me, is your show scripted? That absolutely not, but I can't speak for all reality TV shows. That's my answer, because I watch some and I'm like, that seems kind of manufactured, or at least like they'll take the same scene and maybe recreate it. But I was so me, and nobody ever told me what to say or what to do. So, I mean, maybe it's different now. I don't think it is. Actually, I know it's not. But yeah, it was just us being really real.
Yeah, and I always appreciated that about the show because I see things with the aura colors, and it's just kind of more like, I can tell if people are holding back or if something's just, like,
I love this.
But it's a vibe. You read that. You're very intuitive.
Can I just tell you, I am getting such, like goosebumpy university chills all over from you. And I had like little, I didn't even see your picture before, anything.
Yeah.
And I just like get the most warm fuzzies from you. I can't even tell you.
That makes me so happy because this is what I try
It's
to
so
do.
true.
I try
can
to
feel it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like feeling like my cheeks are like, I can't stop smiling. What's the deal?
That makes me so happy. Well, like in my work, I try to like step into people like, politely, but like energetically, like I have boundaries. So but with you, I love, so I just, you're yellow purple, but you're yellow. I feel like you're the type of person, and like, correct me if I'm wrong. It's just the way that your yellow is it's kind of like will act like a protective layer or something. And I feel like you'll use that first. Like that's how I feel like you step into things, but you're a quick read on people. That's your purple. That's like your intuitive. So I feel like I call it like the scan. Like some people do scans, and I can feel and I feel like every time you meet somebody, you do a quick scan. And I don't know what you would call it yourself, but I feel like it's it's an energy scan. Like you're reading them, and and then when people let them in or not. I mean, and I feel like you're good at being friendly, but not letting people in. And then you're also good at being like ride or die. So that's just, sweet.
I love that.
but I always liked you on the challenges because you were very authentic. Like this is like direct and like honest, but also warm. So there was, I think like as a friend, like just who you are as a person, you're somebody who you'll hear anything like non-judgmentally, but also like, don't ask me my opinion if you want the truth. Because
I say that to Susie. I go, okay, well, do you want friend Sarah? Or do you want therapist Sarah? Because I'll give you the real answer if you want it. And I'm like so honest, almost to a fault. Like, and I cannot be, like a liar. Like I can't be false, and so that is very accurate.
Well, that's the yellow purple thing, because like you feel it, and then you also like I feel like you want to scaffold it. So like here, let me just logically put this out to you so you can understand what I'm saying. But, like so back because with the chat, like stuff like how do you feel like you were able to compartmentalize during that? Because they put you guys in such high stress situations, and how do you do that? Like energetic, like just as a person.
You know what? I knew that it is all energy, and that that you can really we have the power to kind of create our own reality based on the messages that we send ourselves. And
yes.
Sorry, I just got a text from a client, so I looked up because I was like, oh, what's that? As I was saying, so for example, a lot of people get up there and they're like, oh my God, I'm terrified. Rather than sticking with that terrified narrative, I would try to transform that into, I'm just really excited, because it's the same physiological feeling, being excited or terrified. We just label them different. It's like a rapid heart rate, sweaty palms, getting really, jittery or nervous. You can say that that's how you feel before you jump out of an airplane or on a first date, or,
yes.
so it's really just how we label them. And so I worked really hard to label things as positive events, label things as learning experiences, label things as me being excited. And that helped me kind of survive. Label things as being not difficult, just like a test of your strength. And so I talk to myself so much. There is footage of me on my very first challenge saying, oh, what did I had a mantra that I was walking over this board.
Yeah, that is so yellow. Yeah.
My mind is strong and, or my body is strong and supple. My mind is pure and clear. My body is strong and supple. My mind is pure and clear. And I would say over and over. They looked at me like, this chick is crazy. But I was consistent in all 10 seasons of doing this.
It worked for you. I love that.
It worked.
That's growth. The growth mindset. I can grow. I can. But that's
it is so funny you say that. Everybody from my program was always like, growth mindset over here, growth mindset over here. And not very many people know that phrase. So that is funny you say that. Yes.
It's true. I learned it because when my daughter was in 3rd grade, this is so funny. The teacher sent home a growth mindset worksheet, and it's one of these things you're supposed to throw out. But I was like, "Oh, this is brilliant!" And it was written for a 3rd grader. But I'm like, "That's what we're supposed to do, growth mindset."
Yes.
And, but that's manifestation. That's how you manifest your life. But yeah, I noticed that yellows tend to be good at that anyways. They, self-help or self-improvement, or how do I take this and transmute the energy to something positive? Yes. So that's really cool.
I love that.
I like that too. You're so cool. Okay. So how, these are truly fan questions for a minute before I get into anything else. Okay, how social media, when you first started, what it was what, Facebook maybe?
Yeah. There was the only thing, it was so weird. When we first started, the whole social media thing was just starting. Yes. And MTV tried to do their own version of an online social media platform that was called fans to something, or
okay.
I don't know what it was. But it was where we could all have profiles and interact with fans. And that lasted all of a second. Yeah. And they tried to tell us oh, we want you to go on there and be active. And I was right in that moment before Twitter and Instagram and all that blew up.
Yes.
So yeah, in a weird way, I kind of had to learn how to do that. And it wasn't at all a part of how I got on the show, or how and it's just so interesting to see now that that's such a big part of everything.
I'm
not good at it.
Well, I feel that's now you can go on one of these shows and all of a sudden you're Twitter, Instagram famous, making a living that way or whatever. Yes. And you're on for one season I just find it. But it's also, there's the backlash, there's a lot of trolls and there's a lot of other things too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so I can imagine how that must shape people. You truly went on for the experience, Yes, and I feel
sure.
Now people have maybe more than one reason to go on these things.
Yes, I would agree with that. And there wasn't the possibility, we knew that people, would do, bar crawls or Cancun or spring break and things like that. And I knew that I was not that person. I knew that they weren't going to I'm the one who's on the bar being like, make sure you have a designated driver. Like nobody wants to invite me to any bar.
Like,
yes, I'm like
your
that.
Keys away, and I don't care if you're mad at me.
Exactly. I'm like, make sure you're switching off between drinks and water. You know, like, so nobody wants to invite me to those things. So I knew that wasn't and so I didn't see any sort of potential for success through just being like me as Sarah from the real world without other stuff. So, I mean, I thought it would be a great platform to, spread messages about the social causes that matter to me. Mm-hmm. And it was more like a way I looked at the real world as, oh my gosh, this is going to be so great. I'm going to be able to have access to jobs in field, like when I got to work at the center, the LGBTQ center. Well, it wasn't Q at that, but LGBT center in New York City. I was like, man, I got this job and I'm teaching an art therapy class and I would never get this. And now looking back, I hate that I called it even art therapy because legally I did not have the qualifications to do that. Right. More like, art with a therapeutic, whatever. Yeah.
Like,
but
they
gave
painting.
Me these great yes, right. We were painting and talking about feelings with no training behind it. But they gave me this great platform to do that. So, I looked at it as like success in using that to kind of get into doors that maybe I wasn't able to get into before. And I do see that now people are just like, but good for them. It's like they're capitalizing on it. And,
I think it's cool. I just like the way that it used to be. Like, as I age myself and I'm like, the real world. I'm like, the way that it used to be, it's like, people went on because they did want to make a difference and there were like a lot of passion. I'm sure there's like exceptions to that, but like you would see like a lot of people with just like actual life passion. And it's like, now you don't know. And I mean, just like all the shows you watch, it's like, are they there for the right reasons or whatever? And it's like, maybe not, probably not. But like I just remember like that always drew me to the MTV stuff because it was so flippin' authentic and raw and like vulnerable. And for me, like growing up, not having, I guess, like context to showcase all the complicated emotions I had. Like, it was interesting to see everybody playing out theirs so just truthfully on television. And that's why I always had like a lot of respect for that series and whatnot. And it was funny too. And it was interesting. But then the challenges always seem really mean. Like and they stress me out because like they do turn you on each other. And that's gotta be, and then they make you live with each other. And it's just,
it's awful. It's a nightmare.
How much did the edit affect you? Like, was there a lot with that or not really?
Not me. Like, me, not at all. I gotta say. I have no problem. I mean, like, but I wasn't going on there doing dumb shit. And if I were, they certainly didn't catch all of it or didn't choose to air it. But, that kind of fit with who I was just lucky in who they decided I was,
Right. I like that.
And they kept with that image. And someone's got to be the nice guy.
Yeah, so. That's good. I liked that. Okay, so now moving forward, you have the podcast. Like, you've been vocal about what you've been going through in your own life and whatnot.
Yes.
What does it look like for you now? Like, would you ever do another challenge again?
No. I definitely could not do, especially now that they're making them live in bunkers and things like that. That's not for me.
I saw that. It's very stressful.
I just can't physically compete, I'm like not in the same place. It's funny. I live in the same building as Corey on the challenge.
Oh my God.
And I run into him all the time. I just ran into him in the hall this morning. And we were saying like, oh yeah, I as soon as like the gym's open, I really can't wait for it to be open. He's like, yeah, we should go do like a session at the gym. And I was like, oh my God. Listen, buddy, we used to do that, like, on the challenge. But this old broad has not lifted a weight.
You're so not old.
And, well, compared to those girls on the challenge who are, like, just, like, jacked in there, I'm like, I can't do that. I'm like, back in the day when the challenge was, like, eat this burrito. Like, I eat this giant burrito or ice cream sundae or melt this block of ice with your boobies. I want those challenges. I'm on it. But now it's like, we're going to put you in a gas chamber and light you on fire and then make you solve a puzzle as you're hanging off the side of a building. And I'm like, nah, I'm good.
You're like, I'm
cool.
okay. I don't need that to define me anymore. We have other things.
I'm good.
But you have
calmer.
other things going on. So that's because you have the podcast and you are a working therapist, right?
Yes, I am a marriage and family therapy associate, and I work in private practice. And now all of our sessions are online, so I work with anybody who lives in the state of California.
What do you have to say? Like, I wasn't planning on asking this. It's just, I don't know. Like, marriage in quarantine. Like, what have you known?
Oh. Well, it is, and Susie said it best. She said it puts a magnifying glass on anything that's going on, whether that's good or bad.
Yes.
And so, and it's, I always tell all my clients that it's just like a metaphor I use often, that we all have an emotional bank account. And we can say we start the day with like $100 in our emotional bank account. And we choose and sometimes we don't even choose where we spend this money, but money is drained out of this bank account throughout the day. And so you wake up in the middle of a global pandemic and you might as well just throw $30 of that, maybe even $50, depending on your situation, just like out the window. Yeah. And then you have, a relative who has a compromised immune system, and then you throw another 10 out. And then you've got a kid you got to homeschool, and then you throw another 15 out. And then you have just like the stressors from work, so you throw out another 10. And at the end of the day, you're like, dang it, I am empty. And so you have to find things that like pay you back and fill your bank account, like a good relationship with a partner. That's like them giving you their emotional dollars, and you're like doing the nice exchange, and it like evens out in the end. And so when you're in a relationship with somebody who's maybe taking your emotional dollars and not doing anything to fill your bank account up, it can feel very draining. And at the end of the month, you're like, ooh, we're overdrawn.
Yeah.
So I like bank accounts are draining fast.
That's a good way to put it, because it's funny because like I tell, like when I do, I don't know, when I get messages from Spirit with the aura thing or whatever, like when I do readings, it's about how do you connect to Spirit, like, and giving to a bottomless pit is not how you connect to anything. Like, but some people in your life are a bottomless pit, and I can see like this time period showing people that, like, oh my God, so I think like we're seeing in the news and the media, like a lot of different couples, like kind of coming to end, like we saw Megan Fox and things, there's like a lot of stuff going on. And it's like, we see it and it just kind of reminds us like, okay, like that, and like you said, like which relationships aren't feeding me back is a big thing. Because I think, because I talk a lot about like empaths, so it's like when you give to somebody, it has to be for the greater good, not just so they like take it and never get better or something like that. That's interesting. So I feel like you do, like when you do your work, do you get feelings about people?
For sure.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you can't not, I was having this conversation with my aunt the other day, because my mother, her career that she's what makes a living doing and has been doing for many years, she's a psychic.
My mom is too.
Oh my God,
we have to talk about this. Okay, but keep going. All right.
So it feels like it's kind of in the genes, and I fought this for a million years. And that's why I went to school, to get the science behind it and to get the real And I was telling my relative the other day when I was talking about this, I'm like, the kind of the differences between what my mom does and what I do, and how it is very different, but. I use evidence-based practices that are kind of more focused on what the individual can do to make changes in their life, regardless of what the people around them are going through. And but there is an undeniable sense of knowing that I have about some things where it's just like it'll help me know. Kind of like I start at the beginning of a trail with a whole bunch of different options of where to walk to get to, the end goal. And it like helps kind of navigate me and decide which path I should walk down.
Yeah. Like if you're not, when you first meet somebody, you're not like lost on them. You kind of see
their. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I take this path to get.
Yeah. There. Like you know where we're going. We're just figure out the path to get there is kind of going to be organic or whatever, but it's going to come out.
And, yeah. Yes, for sure. And it's like picking up vibes and matching what their vibes are. And like,
absolutely.
Okay, vibe with them in the way that they need the most.
I like what you said, too, about telling people, like, what are you in control of? And, like, how can you help yourself? Like, I feel like that's such an important message for people to understand. Like, there's things you can and cannot control. And you cannot control other people or certain environmental circumstances. So what are you going to do? you know, and I think that's raw, and that's where people get stuck and they don't want to see stuff. And that's where you come in to help them through it.
Yeah, we can change those thoughts you have, and we can change the feelings, and then we can change the behaviors, and it's magic.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like so my mom works as a psychic too, but I think the difference is with me and her is like she channels dead people. I do that too, but like my passion is like really getting people to like align their life with like who they're meant to be authentically. So like, what are your patterns, or what don't, like, just kind of like saying it, let's just be direct and see ourselves with the colors as like a framework. But I think like it's interesting that some people feel like I don't know, like knowing the future would help them, and I don't think it does. What do you think?
I don't think it does either.
Right.
It does. That's where I feel like that too.
Yeah,
that's like my mom does things also like help find missing people. So
cool.
it's like that where like I can't do that.
I can't.
That's
by
not
myself.
a therapist.
Yeah.
That's not a therapist, right? Like
I don't know where I am right now.
I get lost on the way to the bathroom, so no, I can't. That's a different kind of thing than, but. You can't.
Your mom, she always told you that you're psychic? Is she like, Sarah, you're psychic?
All the time. And since I was a child. And then I'm just annoyed. Well, and she'll be like, well, because you know you have the gift. And you know that your grandmother had the gift. And she'll say things like, just like that. You know you have the gift. And she'll like...
like going to challenge you on it?
Yeah. And then, because I was like, ugh, Mom. And she was like, well, that's just your gift. And I used to do a lot of handwriting analysis. Like, I got really into that. And so we'd be at the bank somewhere. She would say that too. And she goes, I don't care. Call it what you want. Read all the books you want. That's you can use whatever medium to do it. You just choose handwriting. And she would always, and I'd be like, Mom, you're ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
I agree with her.
Now I'm like, yeah, she's not that ridiculous. So.
No, she's not. But like, no, I can't do that, but my mom can. So like, if you see somebody sign their name or something, you get vibes off it.
And like, I can tell you all about them.
Oh my God. Like,
and I would just be like, well, that's just science, because like there's a whole like analysis to it.
Of course.
She's like, my mom's like, no, it's not, Sarah. People don't just do that. Like I did that on the challenge. I had people. It's on the shit they should have shown from the Rivals 2 season. I think it was Rivals 2. Or no, maybe Rivals 1. The shit they should have shown from Rivals 1. And then I think it was in maybe one of like their best of clips. So I had everybody write the same sentence. I left the room and everybody wrote down the same sentence. And then I came back in and I said who wrote which based on their personality. And like I was like, oh, this person, let me tell you about this person. And then here's who I think this is. And I was 100% right.
Oh
and CT got pissed. He got so mad because I hit the nail on the head. And then he was like, this is ridiculous. And then Johnny got so mad, he thought it was so funny that CT got so mad and how accurate it was. And yeah, it was like a whole thing. And CT was just furious because I
so cool.
analyzed his handwriting and he didn't like the answer. But I was right about.
Yeah, no, but sometimes I'll see that too, like with forensic psychologists, like the ones that like figure out serial killers' brains and stuff like that. And I'll look at their aura colors and I'm like, but they're psychic too. Like there is a certain part of you that usually they're indigo, meaning like they have to jump into these people's brains to figure out that. So, I mean, I think
that gives me chills.
And you can, and like when I think that's why a lot of us like the true crime sometimes, because we're like, let me just step into that and see what was going. But I think if you're sensitive but we've figured out words for like what these energetic or magical things are.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's just what we do as humans. And that's good. And it's good to have people with accreditation. So we're not just all running around Looney Tunes because you never know who you're going to talk to. So that's important. like when I do readings, like I always say, like, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not anything like that. It's just you get cheers.
It's so funny because I'm on the other side where in therapy I'll be like, okay, I know this sounds hippity dippity, but da 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 da. So,
maybe this is hippity dippity, but you have attitude.
Yeah. Maybe this sounds hippity dippity, but you need to just get in line with like the vibes and so yeah.
Funny. Has your mom ever made a prediction for your life that like totally came
She
true?
She cannot read me.
My mom says that about me too.
Yeah, she can't. It's too close.
Yeah.
But she can read the people around me. So she can read, like, she knows every single thing about my boyfriend. And she told him, like, I told him when we first started dating what she said about him, and he went, "Damn, she knows me better than I do."
That's hysterical.
And she was like, "That's exactly right."
Yeah.
And like she's like, "Oh yeah, I already know." Like she knows all of the stuff about us.
See, that's really my mom. This dates me a little bit, but she said, she's like, I met my husband when I was 18, but she's like, you're gonna meet a guy named Steve, and it was my husband's name is Scott, but his IM name, remember in AOL Instant Messenger?
Yes.
It was Steve. He's,
what?
Yeah, isn't that
That's
funny?
great. Oh my God. See, those
so
kind of
funny.
things are so, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Have you ever had like mediumship visitations or anything like that? Or
No, but I spent a long time trying to say, because I was really scared of that growing up because my brother would talk about that. So I spent a long time saying, I don't want to see anything. 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 And so my mom was like, don't worry, because you're not going to, because you've said for a million years that you don't want to see anything. It'll just come to you in other ways. It's like the signs and it's like the coincidences and the serendipity and like synchronicity in my life is laughable.
That's
laughable.
Awesome. Like, you get like a lot of numbers and stuff.
It's more like I have to be very careful what I say out loud because like yesterday I got my first ticket, speeding ticket in like 1 million billion years. Yeah. Literally 30 seconds after I'm driving in the car with my aunt and you know, she's like, slow down. And I'm like, listen, Aunt Peggy, I've been driving. I'm fine. I have never been in one car accident. I have had one ticket my entire life. I haven't had a ticket in a million years. You don't need to worry. I'm totally fine. And the universe, and like gave her this, and was getting a little snarky attitude. And the universe was like, okay, we're gonna show something. 30 seconds later, one time I like never speed, and I got a ticket, and I was like, okay, I get it. So I get those very big like lessons where like, it's like be vulnerable. So you know, or like. You know, I hope for something and wish for something, but I'm not very specific, and I'll get something that's like, you know, very close to it. Like even like growing, and my mom would say this too. Like she wanted the kitchen remodeled and was like, oh, I really want this kitchen remodeled. And then a pipe burst. And so we're forced to have the kitchen remodeled.
That's crazy.
You know, it'll be stuff like that. So you got to get like really specific, you know.
That's how the universe works.
I want to trip up to Cambria. Well, then my aunt falls ill, and then we go up there and have to pick her up. And I was like, well, I should have said I wanted to trip up there on my own planning. It's for relaxation and a vacation. So I have to get better. I have to get more specific about what I asked the universe.
Somebody told me once, and I loved this. It was one of my clients, actually. I was like a lesson from her grandma. She said, when you pray to God, be very specific. And so she said that's how she manifested her husband. And she said she was so specific about it from head to toe to his endowment size.
That's a big important, hopefully big important thing.
Yeah, it was. I guess it was because she was happy. And she said, I was so specific because she said you have to be specific when you pray to God, but it's just another way to say like, you're a good manifester. But I bet your mom's not yellow. I bet your mom's more like purple blue. I'd have to see a picture of her.
Yeah.
I bet she's more
She has none of those scaffolding putting out. She's just it's just out there. It is like, there's no boundaries to her.
Right. Yeah. I bet she's more purple blue. And just because like your yellow is so organized and logical and like,
she has none of that.
Let's find names for this so it fits in society. But I think when you grow up with a psychic parent, what happens is you see how people perceive it, and you don't want to, because I thought it for a long time too. It's like I was a teacher for a while, and it's like you don't want to live like that because people have such misconceptions about it, and there are a lot of frauds out there. So you don't so you don't want to get like lumped in with them. But that's so cool because I never meet anybody with like a psychic mom.
Me either.
That's crazy. Do you do any sort of like, I don't know, like ritualistic things or like psychic-y things in your life?
Yeah. I like, and this is so silly that I can't even believe I'm saying this, even that because my supervisor was the one who my mom told me forever, like I was having a hard time separating like the feelings of my clients with me when I first started.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, well, you need to get some crystals. You need some hemite. You need some black tourmaline. And I was like, oh, God, Mom, I need, like, some real tools. And then I go to my supervisor, and I'm like, I'm having all these problems. She's like, you should probably get some crystals. And I was like, oh, for Pete's sake. Even my supervisors are telling me, I guess I should get some. So I do a lot of that kind of stuff, and I have, like, little jars that I keep in my pockets that, like,
you have to.
Yes. And I always wear a hemite ring when I do sessions, and about every 3 weeks they'll break. And
yes, they crack. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like they can't even take it.
You're absorbing so much stuff.
Yeah.
Oh
and then I realized, and after like the third or fourth one broke, I was like, oh, this is the thing. Because there's no way.
No,
I have another one that's the same kind of ring, and it never breaks. It's like, what the hell?
No, I know. So, that's like a whole thing, like when they crack or whatever. Yeah. It's like, oh my God. It's like,
hippity, man.
It is. Oh my God, it's so fun. But on your podcast, you guys talk a lot about like, well, explain to us what you talk. Like, it's a lot like the pop culture, and you guys are like very science based too, and it's a cool mashup, which is why I like it. So, explain that.
Yeah, so we try to talk about interesting things in, pop culture, interesting things in science, interesting things in, pretty much any category that is something. A good topic for discussion. Yeah. And there's just so much out there, and we're like we just want to laugh and learn. And Susie and I call ourselves lifetime learners. Mm-hmm. So we're all just like thirsty for info, and we're already doing all this, seeking out of information and finding interesting things and sharing it with each other.
Yes.
I figured might as well just like record it and share it with everybody else too. And then we have wonderful fans that send us info and like good leads on stories and things like that as well. And we just like talk about, badass bitches, and we talk about like a lot of gender and like, equality issues and, just trying to have some fun in the meantime.
I like that. She's yellow too. It's like a real yellow podcast. It's like for yellow people.
She's very yellow. That makes sense.
I've always been really good friends with yellow people just because I'm more like your mom. Like, what? Like, like, for me, I like having opposite relationships a lot just to try to like organize myself or like, framework it or get different perspectives. So that's what I get out of your podcast. I get a lot of like information and whatnot. I feel like, I was going to say something with that. Oh, she's yellow too. I forget. Yeah. But I get like what you're talking about with, I think, putting stuff together. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like the whole stuff in the media and how to like almost like transmute that energy for the rest of us to kind of use in our daily lives. Mm-hmm. Because how many of us are reading research-based articles, honestly?
Right.
Like how many of us are picking, are like going to the Library of Congress and like looking up the actual facts or this? I mean, it's just not realistic to ask people to do that, even though you should always check your sources and things like that. So that's why I feel like podcasts like yours are really important because like you will say like, here are all the sides of things in a way that's like research based, but also we can laugh about it too. And then say all the fun stuff with my aura thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of synesthesia. Like,
I have it. I have color grapheme synesthesia where numbers are colors.
Okay. So what color is like 13?
Really bad. Well, 1 is like a gray and 3 is like a blue.
Oh my God! Now, is it like that for everybody? Is like with people with synesthesia?
No, it's different colors It's different colors for whoever.
I've always wondered, is that what I have? But like I see it with people's personalities or energies instead of like numbers or something.
And synesthesia is limited to like the senses, like the 5 senses. Okay. So you can say it's almost like a sixth sense synesthesia. Yes.
Yeah, it's just I've always wondered because I truly do see colors around people. Yeah. So it's like, is this like a brain issue? Except am I okay? Except I also get messages like when I tune in and do a session, like I get messages too, but like that are like not related to color at all. But like I've often wondered like I know I'm not the only one that does it because like a lot of kids will see colors the same way I do.
That gives me chills. I love it.
You project so much, like, you're very extreme. Like, you're very, like, some people, like, wear their colors. Everybody wears their colors differently. Like, you are very bright yellow, but then you're also, like, very bright purple. So I feel like if you ask a little kid, they might give you, like, one of those two colors. Like,
oh, that's cool.
You should do that.
I will.
Just, like, ask a 4-year-old.
Like, I love that. My mom used to do that. My mom used to go up different. She used to go up to little kids, and she would go, "Where do you come from?"
Oh,
and they would always go like this.
My God,
she would ask little babies, like, right before they can, like, before they learn how to talk, but like right, and you just go, "Where did you just come from? Where were you?" And they'll always just go point up. I just pointed up for the people who are listening.
I love that.
Isn't that the cutest thing in the whole world? They always, they don't point to their mom's tummy. They don't do anything. They only point up.
Oh, we all got to try that. That is so
It's
cool.
the cutest, sweetest thing. I can't. Where's the baby? Give me a baby.
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 So you're dating a new guy, right?
Yes.
But he's not new, is he? Like,
he's
how old?
not.
No.
We have known each other for 12 years, 13 years now, something like that. But we met at summer camp.
What's that? Like, what's summer camp? Like, what you guys go to? Like, what's that? We went at the time. And he's a little bit younger than me. Yes. Like when you were actual kid. Okay.
Yes. 12 years ago, he was a camper and I was just starting. He was like, he was a camper and I was either like a counselor in training or just about to be a counselor. And then later he became a counselor and we were counselors at the same summer camp together.
I'm creeping on you right now.
And the cutest, he's the cutest, most handsome thing you'll ever see in the whole world. And the sweetest and most kind. And and it was really cute. We, it must have been like 7-8 years ago or so. We had a camp Christmas party and he got my Secret Santa gift and he still has it to this day. And when we started dating, he was like, I still have your Secret Santa gift. And so it's still in our house. So it's like a little like shaker bottle for mixed drinks. And now we use it. And I'm like, I can't believe that you have the... It's very magical. I love him so much.
Soulmate stuff.
He's my soulmate. Yeah. It's 100% for sure. Yeah. Like, I know it. Like, and my grandma's she was very, very close to me. And when she passed, she loved birds, loved them. And when she passed away, her very last words were, "Look for me in the birds."
Oh, my God.
His name is Wren. And so he's a bird, and he's my little bird. God. And so it's like perfect. And I feel like he's who my grandma always wanted me to be with.
You're gonna, like, I'm about to cry. Like, that's so beautiful.
It's the sweetest. He's my soulmate in my person. We know it. And we're like, very much in love.
That makes me happy. No, that makes me. I creeped on your Instagram because I'm a creeper and that's what I do. And now I'm looking at this picture right there.
Yes.
That one.
Look at him.
He has such a gentle vibration to him.
Oh, he's the most gentle soul.
He's so peaceful and calm and gentle. And you know what? He's green. He's got like a green blue aura. What I feel like he does for you? He gives you space to be you, and without like when I think when you're talking about people taking, without giving, I feel like he doesn't do that. Like
he doesn't do that.
You guys have such like a mutual partner. Like, I just see the vibes between very mutual. You're way more purple around him than yellow in your pictures. He feels like he's very, like, on top of his life, though. Like, very
Oh, he is. Very much so.
He feels a little micromanagey, but not in, like, a bad way. More like
this is so accurate.
In a green person way. Like, it's like green people can get, like, really weird about, like, certain elements of organization in their life.
This is very true. Yeah.
And that feels like him. Although he does feel very entrepreneurial too.
He totally is. Yes.
Okay. And I feel like he's passionate, and he does. And he feels like he has his own stuff that he's like interested in. Usually greens can be workaholics, but in a good way. Yes. But he's passionate about his business. That's yes. Sure. And he feels like a nature dude. Like he loves nature.
Totally is.
That's awesome. Oh my God. I love you guys together.
Thank you. I love us together too.
Sarah, thank you so much for like taking time out of your busy day,
talking
to people and helping them in their relationships and coming on and like letting me fangirl on you. And
this is great. This is like warmed my heart today. You like made my like cheeks feel like they got a good exercise. I've been smiling so much.
I love that. And I'm so happy that you're yellow and that you're on and you gave us like that like yellow perspective, which I really appreciate. So where can we find you? Tell us everything.
Oh yeah. You can, if you're interested in any therapy sessions, anything like that, I do family, couple, individual, children's, at sarah@solutionsoc.com. You can email me or just check out Solutions OC online. And you can check out the Brain Candy podcast where we have a bunch of merch. We have so much fun stuff. We have a book club, a monthly book club. It's really fun. We meet on Zoom and it's fantastic. And there's like tears and laughter and it's great, and wine, and it's lovely. And you can follow me on social media on Instagram and everywhere at I'm Sarah Rice.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, so I spent some time with my Pom.
Yeah.
Depressed.
Sorry.
But how did you, very depressed. How did your interview go?
It was great. And you know what the coolest thing about it was? In my mind, because I never meet anybody like this, we have something in common. We both have psychic mothers.
Really?
Who are practicing medium psychics.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
What is your, tell everybody what your experience is, dating, when you first found out. Because I didn't tell you right away.
No. Yeah, I mean, it was very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I had I had no, I didn't even know I don't even think I knew what a psychic was.
Right.
Like, if you asked me, what a psychic was back then, I would be like, I don't know what you're talking about. It was very interesting because I had no idea what happened. I didn't know what it was. So I do recall, leaving your house sometimes.
Well, go back even
go
further.
back further.
I didn't tell you.
No, you didn't tell me.
Until 3 months in.
Yeah.
And I think you saw clues. You were like, why are there people in your house and we can't be in there? Like when my mom was doing readings and you didn't quite understand it and your red aura was like, what is wrong with them?
Yeah, I didn't know the term reading. I didn't know what that meant. Yeah. So I didn't know what anyone did in your house. I knew you guys had a lot of animals that you guys kept. It was weird. It was weird because, if in your living room, your old living room, your old house, one of many houses that you lived in.
Yeah.
That we won't get into that. But one room in your house, the living room, it was very calm, and it was like a room you always wanted to be in.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to be in that room.
We got that a lot.
Yeah, and I thought that was strange, but I didn't know what that was.
And everybody else would mention that too, this room feels like home, and they wouldn't leave and stuff.
Yeah. So then I guess you must have, I don't remember when you told me that she was a psychic.
It was 3 months in.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was. And I said, all right, well, I'll give you a test. This is the only thing I remember, testing her. And I wrote, well, if you're a psychic, and she told me what a psychic was, and I'm like, if you're a psychic, what was my dog?
You emailed
childhood dog?
me.
Yeah, I emailed you.
Right.
What is my dog that passed? Name.
Because you were in back home in Long Island visiting at that time.
Right.
So you emailed me and asked me that question.
Yes. And I asked a question, and I got a one-word response. C-O-C-O, which is Coco.
No, C-O-C-O-A.
Well, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
But no, that's
Coco.
an important part.
Yeah.
Because you said she even spelled it the right way.
Oh, yeah, she spelled it the right way.
Yeah. Because I asked my mom, I'm like, hey, what was Scott's childhood dog's name? And she's just like, Coco.
Yeah.
And then I wrote to you one line, Coco.
Yeah.
And then I used to work at JCPenney's, and you called me. This is before cell phones, you guys. This is email. You had to be at your computer that was in the living room because everybody shared it.
Right.
This was back in 2000. Yeah, when did we meet? Yeah, 2000. So, I just have to give the story effect. You call me at JCPenney's on my cashier phone, and you're like, what? How did you know? How did you know? And you were really freaked out.
I was. And then I spent hours trying to think, did I ever tell her? I must have told her. We had to have a conversation about this. I must have mentioned it in passing. There's no way she could have known that.
And we were new. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and what's your experience just after you knew that you were really kind of freaked out? Because you went through all the stereotypes, I think.
Yeah, I was a little freaked out. I was I always wondered, was your mom a witch? Because I didn't know what it was. So I thought maybe she was a witch. I thought your house flew away, in Wizard of Oz, how the Wicked Witch and the house spins. And
you thought we weren't real.
Yeah, I thought it disappeared. So
we were another dimension.
So there was a couple of times I drove out of your driveway, and then I lurked back in the car. I was in the car, and I lurked back just to see if the house would disappear.
So you thought we were magical beings?
Yeah,
Wow.
I thought it was like the Time Warp, like the house, the castle that just disappears.
Okay.
In the Rocky Horror Show. So I thought that. I saw a lot of like weird things in your house.
Yeah.
That I could not explain.
Yeah, we all did. Yeah, that was like.
Yeah.
Explain that one time.
Yeah, the weirdest one was you had a table and there was like just a glass statue on the table, and I was just looking at it, and all of a sudden I saw the statue go across the table and fall into the floor. Like I had no idea. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't mechanical or anything. It was just a glass statue. It literally, I saw it go across the table and fall on the floor.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that freaked me out.
Yeah.
So, and then you had all the cats.
We did have, when you met me, we had 6 cats, a chicken.
Yeah.
We had a bunny.
So, it was like a little unsettling.
Yeah, we were a little weird growing up. Yeah.
But it was, we also had fun. I had a lot of fun with it because like your mom would do, I remember she'd always do like a party on a Friday night. And your mom was like mostly retired now, but she used to do like parties on a Friday night.
Yeah, she'd do like, reading parties at people's houses.
And then we would have like our own party.
Yeah, like my
with
dad and you and me and my sister.
Yeah, where we'd get like pizza,
like woohoo,
wings, and we we watch movies, like bad movies, and party. So it was always good because every Friday night you had a psychic party, and we had our own party in that room that I liked so much. So
it was interesting because Sarah kept saying, like, we had a lot of similarities because her mom always told her, like, you have the gift, and my mom always would tell me that too.
She did, and
I would be like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But it's funny because like Sarah is a therapist,
right?
Which in a way is, there's science behind it, but it's helping people with intuition in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finally picked up it in my own way. So it's interesting because her mom always tells her the same thing that I got told, like growing up. And also like she's too close to read because my mom will always say that to me, like, I can't read you. You're too close to me. And but she could read you. And just like Sarah's mom read all like her new boyfriend, So it's funny because it's like all these similarities.
Yeah, no,
so we talked a lot about that.
Yeah, no, she definitely has gotten stuff over the years. Like I can't explain how she would know these things. I
remember once when you worked at Domino's, you wanted to find out because my mom's more object interpretation. So I remember I'm more picture interpretation. So I remember once you were like, I want to find out about my manager at Domino's.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, well, bring me a personal effect of his. And you didn't find one except you brought his thrown out lunch from McDonald's that you took from the trash and brought it to her. To read. And she like without even missing a beat, like she put her hands on it and she was like telling you all this stuff about him.
Yeah.
Because you just wanted to see like, I don't know, God knows what your 3D issues were at the time at Domino's.
Oh my God.
Why you needed to know about the manager.
I'm going to tell you, honestly, my favorite psychic trick, whatever you want to believe, whatever you want to call it of your mom's though.
Yeah.
And is the freezer.
The freezer.
I love the freezer. Now,
yes.
What your mom does. You just, for me or whatever, over the years, I've asked her a couple people, whether you believe this or not. But if you want someone gone out of your life forever, you tell Mystic Michaela's mom, and she'll write it like, I don't know what she does. She does like this weird ceremony.
She does a whole ceremony.
Yeah, I'll do the whole ceremony. I've kind of
it's
snuck
scary
it on
to
it.
watch it.
Yeah, she gets this paper. She writes, I think, the name on it. She crumples it up. She starts like speaking tongue, like no, yo.
I don't know if she's Native American
some
or
stuff
whatever
like that.
is.
No, not Native American. It's like weird languages.
Okay.
Like Sumerian. And yeah, and then like all she'll take it and she does weird things with it, and then she'll throw it into the freezer. Deep in, and like you could go deep in the freezer behind the ice bucket and all that stuff, and then no joke, within like days, something happens
always
to this person.
works.
Or this person, you'll never hear from them.
She doesn't
again.
do it to hurt them. She does it to get them away.
Yeah,
like just go away.
Yeah.
And like when they moved houses, like. Well, like, sometimes you have to move freezers or whatever. There is a bag of the freezer people.
Oh, my God.
And, like, we're all scared to touch it. And my mom's like, don't touch the names.
Yeah.
Like, only she can do it and move them. And then you have to put them in the new part of the freezer.
Yeah.
And we're all freaking, like, you go in there for a flippin' fudge-sicle. And there's this bag of, like, just crumpled up papers. And you're like, oh, God, the freezer names. Like, you don't want to touch it.
I mean, I've asked her, like, if something bad goes wrong in my life, sometimes I ask her, did you put me in the freezer? And, I think I was not in. I never think she's put me in the deep freeze, what she calls it.
Yeah.
I think I've been in the light freeze.
She says it only works if they're supposed to be gone anyways. Yeah. And but my issue with doing that is there is a law of the universe,
right?
Of what you put out comes back to you 3 times. Ooh. So I personally don't want anything back 3 times unless it's good.
Right.
So I don't know. That's the freezer.
Yeah.
The freezer trick. And she threatens, too. She's like, be good or I'll put you in the freezer.
Oh, no.
I heard that growing up.
Oh, she's telling me. She's like, I'll put you in the freezer.
It might not work because, you're okay.
Yeah. I think she's put me in the freezer. I'm going to be honest.
Maybe after 45 years of age, you'll go in the freezer, and that's why your health line shows up then.
Possibly. I think I have people I know that she's put in the freezer that maybe shouldn't, want in the freezer. But, it's funny because if you actually did a search and you went out and find these people, you'd find they have all broken legs, missing body parts.
She doesn't do it so harm comes. She does it so they go away.
No, she'll put someone in the freezer and then the next day they'll be like, oh, that person was in a car accident yesterday.
That's true.
I've seen that.
Somebody threatened me once legally a long time ago. You remember, I won't go into it, but it was really scary. And my mom put this person in the freezer and they got picked up for something illegal, with the federal government.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. And that happened 3 days after she put him in the freezer.
I know. I mean, we remember.
It wasn't they threatened me about something with the house or something.
Yeah. And we had that one contract with the old house we were going to buy in Buffalo. That was a bad deal. The guy was trying to
it was awful.
Rip us off.
It was so stressful.
And
he just went away.
He just went away. Your mom
he disappeared.
She threw him in the freezer, and he was gone.
He just let it go.
He
let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After all this with lawyers and all that nonsense.
He just let it go.
Gone.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But I don't think he died. I think he just let it go.
No. I think he might have got middle freeze.
I don't know. That was before you can stalk people on social media.
Yeah, he didn't get the death freeze.
So anyways, freezer.
Anyway.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But I think when you grow up in a psychic family, stuff like that, we had weird, I've talked about, we grew up in a haunted house and just weird stuff would always happen or whatnot. So anyways, it was kind of cool. And I liked hearing about her.
Now your mom's pretty much retired now. She still
practices?
Her mom still practices?
Yeah. And she helps police find missing people and things like that.
Okay.
Which is cool. I suck at location.
Really cool.
Yeah. So I can't do that. Because I don't even know where I am physically in this moment.
It's true.
Which way is north? I don't know. But she can do location stuff, which I think is super cool.
Okay. Neat.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. I always appreciate you. This podcast is for you and about you. And I appreciate your feedback and your love and your support. Take care, guys.